Hi, my name is Gail Choisier, and today we're going to be looking at some deep sea fossils. Hey there! Are you ready to become a detective today? Come along with me and we'll take a giant leap into the past by looking at the sea floor. Now you may wonder, how could we possibly look into the past by looking at just rocks? Well, what if I told you that in the deep, dark depths of the ocean, tiny microorganisms are living their lives, making little shells, and making whole communities based on the nutrients and chemicals available in their habitat? Seems a little crazy, but it's true. You may not be able to see them without a microscope, but even now, there's a whole world of diverse creatures living right beneath our noses. Geologists today use the shells of ancient microorganisms to tell us important information about what environment they grew up in, and even more exciting, when in time they were living before. Now you may wonder, if there are so many tiny microorganisms making shells from different times in history all mixed up together on the sea floor, how could we possibly tell them apart? This is where sediment cores come into play. Geologists use special equipment to take a tube of rock from the bottom of the sea floor. We call this a core. And instead of finding a big jumble of fossils on the surface of the seafloor, we find distinct layers of communities that lived at the bottom of the ocean over a very long period of time. This record is super important for geologists to understand what kinds of changes the Earth went through in the past. But earlier, I said we were going to be detectives, right? Well, take a look for yourself. These microorganisms are called foraminifera and have complex scientific names to go along with them, but these can be a mouthful to pronounce, so we have some fun nicknames for the fossils to make it a little bit easier. Are you ready to pick up your microscope and look into the past? Let's see what we find. Here you can see some examples of foraminifera that you could find on the seafloor today, but they aren't limited to our time. Keep a close eye on these, because some of them have been around for a while. Bubbles here has been around for 23 million years. That's a long time. Edgy has been around for a lot less, at 1.9 million years. But for us, that's way more than we could even imagine. Some of them even look a little silly, like pincushion, for example. This one lived 28 million years ago and can still be found today. Seems a bit prickly for my tastes. Be careful if you ever want to give this one a high five. But they don't always have to look like mad science experiments. Pinecone looks kind of normal if it wasn't for the fact that it's been around for 15 million years and is super tiny. That would be one very small tree. But what about the fossils that can't be found today? These are the ones that we found in layers beneath the surface of the seafloor in cores. They tell us about the climates that they lived in and are key indicators of how long ago those climates were present. Consider them the weathermen of the ancient rocky past. Let's take a look. Starting with the most recently living samples, still a very long time ago, Bad Hair Day Girl lived 1 to 3 million years ago. I know I would be having a bad hair day if I was around back then on the ocean floor. Whew. By using our geology detective skills, we know this microorganism would have thrived in cold ocean climates. If we take another step further back in time, to 10 to 13 million years ago, we find Mohawk Guy, looking pretty epic if you ask me. This organism also would have preferred cool climates. These two sets of fossils, both Bad Hair Day Girl and Mohawk Guy, indicate a period in Earth history where the environment was very cool. But what if it was the other way around? Well, believe it or not, if we go just a little further back in time, by about 22 million years, we find indicator species that lived in warmer climates. The geologists who nicknamed these fossils were very creative, and if you ever liked unicorns, well, consider this a treat. The unicorn actually lived 32 to 39 million years ago. It lived in warmer climates and had a very epic name. Even further back in time, flower power was the indicator fossil of warm climates about 66 to 69 million years ago. Now that's a very long time. By keeping these indicator fossils in mind when we're investigating cores from the ocean floor, we can tell the place in history and the environment that the core was formed.